Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on a subject that I'm going to take in the most positive way as possible, which is funny considering the title of this video. But we are going to criticize a couple things in this video, but I'd like to do a quick disclaimer that I try to be very positive on this channel, so I'm going to try to take it from a positive perspective a little bit, and then we will be a little bit criticizing with a few things that little warning signs we're saying, and also I am going to have a tie to this video. So this will be all of the more negative things, and I'll have another video that I release very quick that you can go watch right after this or before. That'll be the positive things I see about the Rings of Power. So some of the negative things I see, right? And some of the things that they're not getting right in the Rings of Power so far from what we know. And I would also like to put one more disclaimer of my own view on something is we really don't know 100% either way until we see the series, but it is a little bit worrisome when we're seeing a lot of signs that don't seem really great with things. And again, there's two boats that I see with this subject. There's one boat that is people are, if you don't like it, you're not Tolkien-ish, right? And that's a silly boat to be in. And the other boat is we already hate it even though we haven't seen the series at all. That's also a silly boat to be in my opinion. I'm in the boat of there are some telltale signs that are worrisome. There are some good signs that are positive. So that's my little disclaimer at the beginning of the video, and now we'll go through it. And instead of going through a ton of things, like everything we know about whether it's good or bad at this point of knowledge, I'm going to do a couple things of what I've already learned that I've been following this stuff a lot. Again, I'm not going to go too much in Rings of Power on this channel, but I have to talk about it a little bit because it is, you know, they're saying they're Lord of the Rings, right? Content, but we'll see which way it is once we watch the series. But for this video today, we are going to be talking about a specific article and video I saw, and I will bring it up right now and we're going to watch it, and I'm going to break down a few things that I did not like when I saw. Okay, so that's why I'm doing this. Is the first of the two video series. Make sure you watch the other one too. You get my positive views on things, but we'll mainly talk about this article that I found. Okay, it's kind of being spread around here, so we're going to kind of advertise their article. I do not endorse anything, so let's go through this together, my friends. And if you do enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe. So it's my review playlist. We're gonna do this Alotro Lore Master. All right, Lord of the Rings Lore Master. That's what this playlist is. All right, on our channel. We're gonna go straight into this video. There's a couple different videos. Some of these are good. Some of these comments were made that were actually good for some of these actors. Okay, so this is comments. Basically, this article is about the Rings of Power. Stars explain what to expect from the new Lord of the Rings series. Okay, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. You're gonna get it from I would consider myself a moderate view in between all the extremes of both sides, with whether totally loving it or totally hating it. I'm kind of like, I'm yet to banhammer or endorse until I see the show. Okay, that's my goal. And I'm going to break down each episode too when they come out. I will do that if you're on the channel. And again, I will try to be as fair as I can be to both sides. Okay, to people who don't like it already and people who might already love it and really excited about it. But we're going to talk about today again in this video. It was a big 3-minute opening. Excuse me. Let's go straight into it now. We're going to talk about, so this is the actress that plays the princess dwarf, or the queen, I should say, because she's married to the Durn. I think she calls her princess because she's not the main monarch, right? She's married to Durin, who is this actor here. Now, let's break this down, okay? So I'm going to pause my music here, and we're going to listen to just some of it, and then I'll tell you the big telltale signs that worry me, okay? Again, this video is it would be the more criticizing video out of my two, okay? So I would try to do this as nicely as I can. And again, I'd just like to point out, I hate it that I have to point this out in this world, you guys. But I am not at all, I do not care about anyone's skin color, okay? I do care, though, when people say certain things about that, because it shouldn't be the issue. That should not be a thing that's even brought up at all. At all, right? Okay, so let's just listen to the thing, all right? I'm going to let you listen to it all one time. 1 minute here. And then we'll talk about it. And I will link this down there for you to see after if you want to go and read the article yourself. We're not going to read the whole article.
What I would love is for everybody to come on the journey where those two worlds collide, and where we don't change anything, but we interpret everything in this incredible, unique way. It means absolutely everything It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film and television industry, to be doing something of this scale and to be positioned, as Princess Disa, as a woman of colour, as a mother, is exactly what our industry and what this incredible piece of television needs. Everyone was cast because they were the absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is an honour.
Okay, so we're gonna break this down. The first thing I noticed is his face during a lot of these comments. He doesn't seem to totally agree with a lot of these comments. I'm not gonna get a big thing there and try to guess what he's thinking, but he was making faces a little bit. Like he wasn't quite comfortable with what she was saying. So I don't know, it's because maybe on a positive note, the people who made the show don't agree with what she's saying on everything. It's to make her own views again, okay? But these are telltale warning signs, okay? Let's break it down now, ready? All right, so the first thing too, a lot of the stuff she said really shouldn't have anything to do with the series, okay? It shouldn't. If it does have a lot to do with it, that's a worrisome thing already right there, okay? So I'm gonna be really fair about what she said, but I am gonna break it down, okay? So I'll try to come as for fair middle ground as I can, okay? Because I'm already not liking what she's saying. I will say that out right off the bat.
Love is for everybody to come on the journey where those two worlds collide.
Okay, so let's hear that one more time.
What I would love is for everybody to come on the journey where those two worlds collide, and where
Okay, so this sounds like it was cut, that was taken out of a full interview or something. But when she says love, she would love, so she's happy, okay, so she's just saying us as people watching. She would love it if we could all come to see the two worlds collide. What two worlds is she talking about? Okay, that's already one thing. I'm totally confused with what she's saying. What is she talking about? What two worlds? Like, from the most positive way I could think of it is, could it be she's just talking about the dwarves and the elves? Is that what she means? From her maybe more limited perspective on it. Again, I'm not saying I don't care with background, but a lot of times actors will act their part really well and they won't know the full lore behind something, okay? That happens a lot in series. I wish it didn't happen. In my positive video, I'll talk about this later, but Elrond, actually the actor who plays Elrond, loves the lore. He's apparently one of the biggest nerds on the set. So that's good. That's a good thing. But, all right, so let's just keep going through this. Next part.
We don't change anything, but we interpret everything.
What's wrong with that? With words? If we break down the English language right there. We don't change anything, but we interpret everything. Okay, all right, let's break this down just a little bit. Interpret, the meaning of interpret means that you look at something and you decide what it is for yourself. For example, music, art, everyone knows this. When someone looks at an abstract piece of art, everyone sees different things, right? Right? That's what the word means, to interpret something with art or music. So that's changing. You could be changing it. You might not be. Maybe they interpret it the same way everyone interprets reading his book, right? But again, you don't need to interpret Tolkien's stories. They're his stories, right? They're his already done stories. They don't need to be interpreted. He's interpreting it for you, his own story. It's not an abstract story. It's not like you're trying to find the meaning within the story. You can find meaning in Tolkien's stories, but you should be following what Tolkien puts down as the main things in his story. Again, one thing that I'm going to put out, this is something I've been saying already, if you've heard me say anything against my upsets about what I'm hearing, these telltale signs that are worrisome to me with the Rings of Power, is the fact that I do not want to see, I said this in the live stream the other day, I do not want to see them taking issues in our real world and putting them into the story. Because it's Middle-earth. It's not our world. It's Middle-earth. It's a fantasy world, right? We don't want to see issues that we deal with in real life. We can deal with those in real life ourselves. It's not that those issues aren't always important. That's not what I'm saying. My saying is we go to watch a fantasy series to escape the issues, let our brains take a break, and then we can go back to real life after the series and keep dealing with those things, right? We don't need them shoved in our faces. And usually when an issue is presented to you from someone's point of view, it might not always be the same point of view you have, right? Because everyone has their own minds. So that can be troublesome if they're putting a point of view in your face that you disagree with too, in the way they're presenting that point of view. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, this bothers me, this whole comment right here.
We don't change anything, but we interpret everything.
That doesn't make any sense. She just contradicted herself. To not change anything, but then say we interpret everything means that they're interpreting that might be a way that changes it. It might not, but it might be a way of changing it, right? Because that means interpret could be any variation of something, which in definition means you're changing it. Okay, moving on. Next thing.
In this incredible, unique way. It means absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film and television industry.
Okay, there is so much wrong with this already, with that statement, okay? There should be... Okay, here's the thing. It matters what the storytellers give, but it should have nothing to do with skin color. She just made it about skin color. She did, right? She just made that comment, right? And I despise that, because that is in a sense being the... I'm not going to say it because YouTube will freak out if I say the word. You know what I'm saying? But she's being that. None of us are being that. She just made that comment, right? Why is it such a huge thing? Why is it everything? I mean, it's not like she's almost acting like she's the first person to be on a TV series with darker colored skin. And that's not the case. We have tons of great actors that have all creeds, colors, and backgrounds for the last 50 years of Hollywood and filming. So that's a really weird comment to make. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why she's making that comment. Does that make sense? So that really worries me that she made that comment, because it's like, again, as you've heard in my previous videos, I don't care what her skin color is. I care what her character lines are, how she fits in, does she make sense with the lore? I think something that would make her character make more sense with all Durin's folk, who are all very light-skinned, very like Viking background in how Tolkien describes them, with Durin's line. Remember, there's 7 clans of dwarves, though. You could easily say that she's a married queen or princess from one of the other dwarven clans that are in the east and near Mordor. Because in Lord of the Rings Online, already several years ago, they've already shown that the Zaruka, which are a different clan in Lord of the Rings Online, if you follow me on that, they have darker skin. They live near Mordor. I think they're outside a lot because they're enslaved. It makes by Sauron and they're some of their leaders got tricked kind of things in that clan, but now the Durin's folk is trying to help them, so they're migrating to Erebor in Lord of the Rings Online. So that makes sense if that is the thing. If that won't make sense to me if she's just placed there, okay? With it doesn't make sense with genealogy. It doesn't make sense. She has to have, maybe her mother is from a different clan, or her father, or you know what I'm saying, or it has to make sense in that way. But again, I'll let that slide. But now she's the one making these comments, which is like, why are you making that comment?
Absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film and television industry.
Okay, so again, if you notice his face here, right here, he looks very uncomfortable. Like he kind of disagrees what she's saying, and kind of like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say it like that. Like, that's what it looks like to me, his face. Again, I'm not going to try to guess him too much, but if you watch his face, it's a little funny, because he's like doing all these faces like, I don't know, that's not really what we were, that's not what we're aiming for. Like, we're not trying to make it that. So maybe, on a positive note, maybe that isn't what the series is going to be about. Maybe this is what her vantage point of the series is going to be, right? We'll see. So let's see the next part, okay?
To be doing something of this scale and to be positioned, as Princess Disa, as a woman of colour, as a mother.
Okay. Again, why does that... I'm not trying to be insensitive here, guys, but why does that matter? Why does it matter that why does it matter with skin color? Why does it matter that she's a mom? That's great to be a mom. I'm not saying anything wrong with that, or anything. Or if you're proud of your background and what your heritage is, right? I'm proud of my background, my heritage. That's fine if she is. But why, in the context of what she's saying, does that matter in this moment? And you guys, please feel free to leave comments. Please keep them civil and nice. And I'm trying to be as open as I can to being fair on this. But do you see what I'm saying? That like she sounds like she's making this an issue of her, of that, like that's really important. That shouldn't be what's important in the fact that she's acting this. She could have been like, it's really cool that, you know, I'm a dwarf. Like, that was fine. She said that I'm Disa and this, and, you know, and that I represent, you know, or the Durin's folk or something, or just, that would have been a cool line. Like, why didn't she say that? Why is she making it sound like it's issues in our world being pulled into that world, which again, I don't feel are fully massive issues anymore. Like, I never look at someone's skin color and judge them by their skin color. I never do. I have hundreds of friends that I know none of them do that. All colors of skin, right? Now, have I had people look at me and do stuff occasionally? Maybe 1 or 2 out of thousands of people I've met that maybe I can tell they judged me from my background. Yeah, but it's really rare. It's really, really rare, especially in the United States. It's very, very rare. And people are very careful because people don't want to be insensitive, right? And sound like they're doing something, right? That it's like, but it's annoying because it feels like we have to be speech controlled, right? And that's not good. So let's keep going. Let's go to the next part. Sorry, I don't want to go too monologue-y here, but these are things that are worrying me. And I just had to talk about it because I'm trying to be very middle ground, but watching this, when I found this and watched this, I was like, why is she bringing that up? Why is that the issue? Again, hear it one more time. Okay. And then you can think for yourself and then watch it.
And to be positioned, you know, as Princess Disa, as a woman of color, as a mother, is exactly what our industry and what this incredible piece of television needs.
What? So again, one more thing, and I'll move on. Why does the industry? Why does that matter? Does that make sense? Why does that matter? I feel like we've had mixes of all races in our movies for a long time, and again, it almost to me feels like she's implying that Tolkien's books needed like a diversity thing. You guys, Tolkien's books by themselves are very diverse in cultures, and Tolkien wrote it from a more of an area that was more of a European country. We don't, for example, for any cool story of someone from Africa or someone from Asia or one of those, we don't take their stories and stuff and say, oh, you know what, you wrote about the people in your country, but really you didn't put any white people into that story, right? So you probably should put some white people into that story when you make it a movie, right? Now, again, they might have some white characters in the story. Maybe a lot of their characters in those stories are bad because they were invading or attacking, which is a fair thing, right? But Tolkien's stories are so balanced, and he never goes into the subject because he's writing a fantasy series that has issues, has battles, has evil to deal with Sauron and Morgoth, but he doesn't go into these other issues that we deal with in our real world, right? Because they were real issues. I don't think they're nearly as big issues now. I think those issues are being blown up now to be used politically. That's my view on that. Not all of them, not all situations. Again, guys, it's such a complex issue that you can't generalize things, right? You really can't generalize anything about this. So, but do you see what I'm saying with this whole situation? Let's keep going so I don't get...
Everyone was cast because they were the absolute best person.
Okay, awesome. They were cast because they're the absolute best person. I like that.
The role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world.
Let's hear that again.
The absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is...
What? What? Now, his eyes are closed. He seems like you're being productive, kind of like his face. Like, oh, why are you saying that? What? Redress the world? Again, it sounds like what she's trying to imply. Maybe I'm reading into this too much. You guys, what do you think in the comments? It sounds like she's trying to imply that Tolkien's world didn't have enough stuff in it with diversity. That's what it sounds like with that sentence. Because at first I'm excited because, oh, they're picked because of the best person. Again, if she was picked because she's the best person for that role as an actress, awesome. That's what I care about, right? Again, I've been pointing that out. I really don't care that there's these little changes they're doing with that maybe don't make genealogy sense completely. I do care, but I don't care that much. As long as the character's good and, they act good and they have great lines, all that stuff, that's what I care about. But she's almost saying like they had to readdress and rebalance the world of Tolkien. Tolkien's world is balanced perfectly. If you're trying to readdress things and reimagine things entirely, that's going to end bad. Whenever you do that with any story, the story starts dying. It starts messing up. Just write a new story at that point, right? Don't mess up a different story. So a little bit worrisome there with that comment.
An honor.
Okay, she says it's an honor to... Oh, I don't want to go into another video. No. I don't want to see another video. We're going back to the article. Sorry. I misclicked. Okay. So anyway, I just... those were other news articles. We're not going to see other things. I was I'm honestly a little bit... I'll hold judgment a little longer, but there's a lot of warning signs with this actress, with her views at least, because those were obviously her views, but I'm hoping they were a little bit misjudged from the that's not what they're going to be doing at the actual stories, right? And again, I'm going to have a positive video on all the things I know positive about the Rings of Power, right? But this is a video basically seeing the telltale signs of warning and the things I'm worried about, and they're getting wrong with the Rings of Power. The Rings of Power should not have any things dragged in from our world into it. It should be purely Tolkien's world. Now, I do understand that the stuff they have rights to, there's not like there's really good markers to know where to be and what to do in Tolkien's world. Like in this, because there's a lot of info still, but there's not for every moment of every scene. So I understand you're going to have to add a few characters and stuff, but you can't completely change the feel and storytelling of Tolkien's world, okay? Like, I don't know why there's always this need right now with a lot of series is to start manipulating it and reinterpreting it. No, interpret it the same way that Tolkien wrote it 80, 90 years ago, right? I don't even remember the exact number right now, but interpret it the same way. There's nothing wrong with it. Tolkien is very, very fair. There's all sorts of peoples represented in the works. And the thing is, too, you guys, you can relate to other people, right? We're all human beings. And even then, you could say, oh, well, how do you relate to a dwarf if you're not a dwarf? We can relate to dwarves. We can relate to elves. That's the whole thing. Now, can we relate to immortality, or at least the long life elves have? It's not technically immortality from what Tolkien said, but the really long lives? Well, not exactly, because we don't have that kind of long life, but we can imagine it. We can understand the struggles there would be between a relationship of a human who dies very early and an elf that lives thousands of years. We can understand these things. So I don't understand why we don't need to be babied into new stories, if that makes sense. We can see, we can relate, right? Again, for example, me as someone of my background, very European background, right? I can understand a story of a character who is from, Japan, or is from Africa, or is from Australia, or is from, even if it's a totally different character, it doesn't matter with the pigment in our skin to understand someone, you guys. We're all humans. We all deal with similar issues, right, in our lives. And that's just how it goes. If there was, let's just side note here, if everyone had the exact same pigment colors in their skin, which would be boring, we wouldn't have cool differences in our peoples, right, around the world. I don't think that would be a good thing. But if we all did, we would find something else to be prejudiced to each other about, because that's sin in the world, right? That's the bottom line. There would always be something that we would find, which again, you could, you see someone that you find is a very handsome or pretty looking person, depending on who you are. It's not always the case for each person, right? Right? One person's going to think someone's very beautiful. Another person's not going to think that person's very beautiful. That is a preference. And you could say, oh, that's mean, but that's how it goes, right? But there's always someone in the world that's going to think someone else is attractive, right? Or nice, as an example, to compare another thing to that, okay? So anyway, let's talk about this real quick. So I want to hear this clip real quick of what he says. So this is the person that plays Isildur and Elendil. I like his actor. I already like Elendil, but we'll talk about that in the next video. The more things I like about it.
I was very scared, but also I think JD and Patrick were so, compassionate and caring with and gave me the space to feel safe to explore and create the character of Isildur. And you meet Isildur at a crossroads.
Okay, so something that already there bothers me just a tiny bit is the fact that explore and change. I understand we don't know every little thing about Isildur, but we do know he is an honorable character, okay? Because Tolkien has given us good info to know a little bit about his personality and stuff, right?
Wants to fulfill his father's dream and become like a ship's captain.
Okay, so this is something that added in, because I don't think Tolkien says anything about him becoming a ship's captain. But it would make sense when he was younger, Isildur, to have something like that. That would be a neat goal. So that might be a positive thing.
But he also wants to explore the world. And
okay, that's fine.
Find himself, which I think a lot of young people...
Find himself? Isildur doesn't seem like the kind of person in the stories that I've read that really needs to find himself. I feel like he's someone that really knows himself and knows what he wants to do for his people. So I don't know about that. That makes me kind of worried that they're almost doing it more like a, young person when he makes the comment like, oh, look at this adventuring, dashing adventurer kind of thing. A little worrisome, but we'll see.
People do and want to do. He leaves a little bit of a path of destruction wherever he goes.
I don't know about path of destruction. Now, again, this could be his personal view on it, and this might not be what we get out of the series when we watch him, right? But I don't know. Isildur doesn't seem like a person that leaves a path of destruction. He actually kind of seems like the person that saved the White Tree Seed, got his people out into Middle Earth when they turned to Morgoth, and Numenor got sunk. Doesn't really seem like a path of destruction, unless he's just applying that since Numenor explodes and sinks behind him, that he's leaving a path of destruction. But that's not Isildur's fault, so I don't know. We'll see.
Always annoying his sister. But there's an undercurrent of sadness.
I don't care if they've got some silly little sibling thing that's like, okay, fine. Maybe that happened. Who knows? But again, we'll
with the family, because they're also dealing with the death of their mother and father's.
Okay, so hopefully that's not too big of a thing. I think the real thing we all want to see is them dealing with the issue of the corruption happening, right? With the Kingsmen and stuff in Numenor, and them turning to Sauron and Morgoth. That's what I want to see. I don't really want to see a drama between people having to deal with that. Now, I don't want to be insensitive, because I've pretty much, from a side note, lost my father in many ways of the sense. He's not dead, but I most likely will never see him again. So I understand that pain of the family going through that, but I don't really necessarily want to see that put into these characters, because Eladin and Isildur they have a certain air to them in the stories. So hopefully, I know they're trying to make them more personable to what we want. I mean, excuse me, not what we want, but to what we would feel personally. But they are fantasy characters, right? They are usually a fantasy character portrays a couple different things, and they're not always quite as deep. Maybe they're trying to make a little more deep. That's fine, but hopefully that doesn't go too crazy there. These ones I'm going to save for the other video, the more positive things. So again, all right. So to finish up here, real quick, let me just go to this for a second. I'm just a little bit worried about a couple of those things, right? Again, I'm going to hold out hope that there will be over 50% of the series about the series I like. But again, we'll see. The biggest thing they have to be careful of, the biggest thing, okay? So, one second. There we go. So the biggest thing that they really need to be careful of with the series is not bringing in issues of our world into Tolkien's world, because a lot of those issues were not dealt with in Tolkien's world, right? A lot of them weren't. And there's a reason. They had different issues in Middle-earth, right? They're dealing with orcs. They're dealing with the evil corruption of Sauron and Morgoth, right, at this time. They're dealing with trying to keep the peace and their peoples all happy, and maybe relations between the different races, a little bit, which is fine, because there is a little bit between the elves and dwarves, but mostly they're positive at this time. Eregion, they're really positive. Celebrimbor, all of that, which they do show in some of the shots, which is a positive. So we will see. We will see. I don't want to make this video much longer, but that character, he obviously, the guy sitting next to the guy who plays Durin, I don't know their names. I'm really bad with names. I don't usually remember actors' names, but it just, I am not sure, you guys. I'm not sure with that. That really unnerved me, that whole minute little view, the things she said. They are very contradicting, and they were things that I was like, those are the very things I'm really, they gotta not do. They really can't. They really can't start putting stuff in like that. And again, it could be at her point of view. It could be just her thoughts. That might not be what the series is about. That might just be what she thinks the series is about, right? From what in her mind. Again, I'm not insulting her. She can have her views, but I don't think a lot of those things are the issues here, right? And again, people are saying that a lot of Tolkienists, you know, that we're like being bad because, oh, we care because her skin color is different. No, we don't care about that. That's not the issue. The issue we care about is keeping Tolkien's works to being Tolkien's works. That's the real issue. Now, does it make sense with that, with her skin color? If we really are digging in deep into it, right, and we're like nitpicking things as following Tolkien's works exactly, even to what, you know, everything, their hair color, everything, it doesn't really make sense unless they, I'm not even gonna go into the beard thing, okay? I think it's pretty clear that Tolkien, there's a pretty clear passage note from Tolkien that they should have beards, the dwarf women too. And Peter Jackson's adaptations, he has a lot of great shots of, and I might do a video on this later in the future if you guys want me to, on my views on that. But again, I let that slide. That's fine. What I care about is that the character themselves has good lines, makes sense, makes okay sense with the lore, right? Again, it's a perfect scenario if the series comes out and she's a married-in princess from the clan of the Ironfoots or the clan of the Zaruka in the south or in the east. Boop. That makes perfect sense. Everyone will be fine with it, right? That's totally fine. And again, even if they don't do that, it doesn't really make sense. Why does she have more melatonin in her skin? Which really shouldn't be an issue, but she made it an issue, guys. You did hear her say that, right? She was the one making that a big thing. It shouldn't be a big thing. That's cool that she's playing that part. Awesome. If she was picked as the best actress for that part, awesome. And again, if there isn't a real reason for that, fine. That's fine. If her acting is good, if the lines make sense, if she's a good character that's not like frustrating or annoying, then awesome, cool, awesome, glad. Should be a cool character to add. But these are telltale signs of warning, though. All right, a little bit worried about. Again, one last disclaimer. Thank you so much for watching the video, you guys. Please go watch my positive one, because I'm going to do a positive and a warning worry one, because on this I try to be really positive on this channel, and I think that was probably as fair as I could give that whole thing there. I feel like she was a little bit contradicting in the things that she said in that interview, and it just worries me a little bit. It just worries me just a little bit. So you guys have a great, wonderful day in Middle-earth. And again, guys, please be civil in the comment section, please. I don't mind hearing other views. You're welcome to do it, but let's not be mean about things. And again, I am not in the boat of I hate the series yet, and I'm not in the boat of I love it yet. I'm gonna watch the series, find out, then I'll give you my view, thoughts, and reviews on it. And even if parts of it are bad and parts of it are good, I will tell you the parts that I liked and the parts that I didn't like, okay? So now go watch my positive video on the things that I think they've got right and that we're excited about. So you guys have a great day in Middle Earth. Subscribe button's gonna be right there if I earned it. You guys enjoyed this. Next episode will be up there. I'll probably have the next one linked up there. And my main content's over there, where I do voiceovers in Lord of the Rings Online. And this is kind of a side thing. But I had to talk about it because this channel is all things Lord of the Rings. So you guys have a great day in Middle Earth. Thank you so much for being here if you're here for the whole 35-minute video. And have a little hope, you guys. Don't despair, okay, about the series. But again, remember, there could always be other series in the future, too. It doesn't mean when they make a series that that's the end-all, right? That they'll never be able to make another remake of a series, right? Or a background. Who knows, right? We'll see what happens in the next few years. I'm sure we'll get lots of stuff. And don't forget, we're also in the War of the Rohirrim. But again, I still have hope and a little bit of excitement for the new Rings of Power series. I still think there will be things that will be cool and fun to see. And again, go watch my positive review thing now. But again, I'm in the boat with some of you too, that I'm wary. I'm a little bit worried, a little bit wary. So on things. But again, we're complex human beings and we can have multiple thoughts in our heads at once. Have a great day in Middle Earth, my friends. See ya. And also, before I forget, thank you to my Patreons for your support. It means the world to me. And again, we'll see how everyone takes this video. But again, remember, I'm right in the middle with things. Please leave your comments. Be civil about it, right? We're all decent hobbits here, and dwarves, and elves, and humans. Subscribe button's gonna be right here if I earned it. And the next episode will be up there in the top left. And right over there will be my main content, A Literature Tale. So thanks so much, you guys. Have a wonderful day in Middle Earth. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Voice of the Rings. Baruch Kazad, Kuzad, I menu.